You are born in Newark, New Jersey, in 1900. The air you breathe smells like factory smoke, river water, and the particular metallic tang of industry running at full speed. The new century is building a future so fast it hasn't stopped to ask whether that future is safe. In your neighborhood, money is the kind of careful that means you know exactly how much bread costs, and you know exactly when there isn't enough of it. Your childhood is practical. You go to school until you're 14, and then you start working to help the family survive. What you bring to the labor market is a specific physical trait. You are good at fine work, the kind of precise, small muscle coordination required for sewing, following tiny lines, and holding impossible details. You have steady hands. This combination of precision and economic need makes young women in Newark the primary labor pool for a new, high-stakes manufacturing industry. Your steady hands are worth something. They are about to be put to a very specific use. In 1917, the United States Radium Corporation begins hiring painters for military instruments. They use a paint called Undark that glows in the dark. The job pays $11 a week, real money for a girl from Newark, and the work is described not just as labor, but as an art. Radium is the most famous element on Earth in 1917. Marie Curie has 2 Nobel Prizes. Radium is in health tonics, face creams, and chocolate bars. Advertisements link it to words like vitality and natural energy. The scientific consensus of the day is that radium is safe, modern, and even healthy. To get the precision the military contract requires, you learn a technique called lip pointing. The camel hair brush splays with use, so you put it between your lips, press it to a point with tongue and teeth, dip it in the paint, and apply it to the dial. Lip, dip, paint. You do this hundreds of times a day. When you ask a supervisor if the paint is safe, he tells you the scientists say it's harmless. He tells you some of the women eat lunch at their benches without any problems. He is lying, and he knows it, but his confidence and the weight of scientific approval make questioning him impossible. The radium dust is everywhere. It settles into your hair, your skin, and your lungs throughout the day. When you leave the factory, you literally glow in the dark. Some of the girls paint their nails with it for fun because the fluorescence is pretty. While you glow, the company manages a growing problem. Their internal documents prove they understand exactly what radiation does to biological tissue. They have strict safety policies for their physicists, yet they deliberately withhold those protections from the women on the factory floor. This diagram shows how radium behaves once it enters your body. It acts like calcium, meaning your bones absorb it as a mineral they recognize. It settles there permanently, irradiating you from the inside out for the rest of your life. By 1920, the symptoms appear. Irene's jaw starts aching, and the bone tissue where a tooth was extracted begins to rot. Dottie's hip fractures spontaneously while she's walking. These aren't normal infections. They are cases of radiation necrosis, where the bone simply stops being bone. The company physician tells you these symptoms are unrelated to your work, but the truth is documented in the company's own files. They knew the paint was toxic, they knew you were putting it in your mouth, and they chose to maintain the silence as long as the dials were being finished. To protect their reputation, the company instructs doctors to misdiagnose the painters. They record deaths as anemia or phosphorus poisoning. In some cases, they claim the women have syphilis, a specific, calculated choice intended to destroy their credibility and make them unsympathetic to the public. In 1927, a group of you decides to sue. You are 25. You have a lesion on your femur that will not heal, and you are tired of being told your failing body as a coincidence. You file the lawsuit, realizing exactly how you have been used. The corporation's legal strategy is built on delay. They challenge every motion and rearrange every schedule, with the patient confidence of an institution that has resources. They know that as time passes, the plaintiffs will become too sick to testify. The media finally forces the issue into the national spotlight. Journalist Walter Lippmann calls the case a test of our civilization, and newspapers begin calling you the Radium Girls. The glow the supervisors once called pretty is now photographed as evidence of corporate contamination. The public attention finally makes the case impossible to ignore. But there is a bitter reality to this support. The protection and fame only arrive when you are already biologically beyond saving. The case settles in 1928. You receive $10,000 and a small pension. The United States Radium Corporation never admits liability. The settlement language is constructed so carefully that the lawyers who wrote it likely billed more hours than you earned in 3 years of painting. That settlement becomes foundational to occupational safety law in the United States. It is a linchpin argument for the right of workers to sue employers for known hazards, and it remains a document cited in legal scholarship a century later. You die in 1930, at 29 years old. The radium in your bones has a half-life of 1,600 years. It is still there, still hot, and will remain in the soil for centuries after everyone who knew your name has also become dust. The military dials you painted still work, and the soldiers reused them came home. Your steady hands were excellent at what they did. But the price of that progress was the version of the future you were saving for in 1918, a future that never had a dollar amount